guys, hope you're all well today. Today's video is just going to be a quick one about diet, talking about my diet. I'm not on any particular diet at the moment, but just to let you know what some rules that I follow to try and keep my weight at something that I'm comfortable with. I've always been very lucky with my weight. I've never had to watch what I eat. I've always had a really high metabolism rate. I was able to, in my sort of 20s and early 30s, I was able to eat what I wanted and not exercise, even though I always have exercise because I love exercising. But I was always very lucky with food. Then I got to sort of mid-30s and things changed, and the food that I used to eat that gave me no issues whatsoever, all of a sudden the weight sort of crept on and on and on, and no matter how much I exercised, I couldn't seem to get the weight off. So obviously I had to make a big change, because I needed to stay the size I was, because it's obviously very expensive to keep buying clothes, different sizes. So I needed to find something that would work for me personally, because I found that the more exercise I was doing, it wasn't making any difference. So what I decided to do was eat less carbs, as in just the main ones. So I stopped eating bread, pasta, potatoes, rice. I know that sounds horrendous, because for me that was my main diet. I would have toast for breakfast, I would have a sandwich for lunch, I would usually have pasta for an evening meal. Most of the meals would revolve something around pasta, whether it be spaghetti bolognese or lasagna or pasta carbonara, whatever it is. It would have a huge bowl of pasta in it, and it just wasn't working. And my main issue is I am a chocoholic. I confess, I'm a chocoholic. I'm not a huge fan of just anything sugary, so I can live without fizzy drinks, crisps, cakes or anything else, but for me it's chocolate. I have to have chocolate, and if you saw how much chocolate I actually eat in a day, you'd be sort of horrified, because I have to have it. I crave it. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't have breakfast, I have chocolate. And I've tried doing the whole, I won't have any chocolate in the morning, I have a healthy breakfast like some porridge, but it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't do it. So what's the point of making yourself miserable just for your diet? So what I do is, so that I can eat chocolate when I want, I cut out other foods that I can easily live without. And for me, it's worked better to sort of cut out these large carbs. So I'm not going to say that I never eat bread, I never eat pasta. Of course I do, because if I'm going to an event and a dinner, I'm not the fussy one that'll say, oh no, I won't have it. I always eat whatever's given to me. And again, if I go to friends for dinner, or if I go out for an Italian, you've only really got one or two choices. You've got pasta or pizza. So I will always eat pasta or whatever on those occasions. But when I'm at home and when I can control what I'm eating, I do my best to not have any pasta. Now I have a family, I have two children that live at home with us, and obviously they don't need to follow the same diet that I do. So simple things, if I'm making spaghetti bolognese, say, what I'll usually do is obviously cook the meat separately and the pasta separately. So I'll have the meat side of it, and I'll just have it with a salad, or with some couscous, or I don't know, something else, that I still get a full meal, but I'm just not having the pasta. And again with bread, I found that I was always tired, I was always bloated, love handles, I was always hungry as well. That's the main thing that I noticed when I stopped eating bread. I was always hungry. It seemed the more I ate, the more I needed food. And then I cut out bread completely for a good few months. And at first it was hard. It was like I craved bread all the time. All I wanted was bread. I could see bread everywhere. But then once I got over that craving, I never thought about bread. I never missed it. I didn't miss the smell. I could quite happily have somebody eat fresh bread in front of me and it wouldn't bother me. And also I slept better, I woke up better, and I didn't think about food so much. Because I remember being at work, I was working when I decided to give up bread, and so I'd start work at 9, my lunch would be about 12:30, 1 o'clock, but by 11 o'clock I was starving, and I'd be starving. I'd have to pop upstairs to the staff room and get, you know, something to eat quickly. When I started eating bread, I could go straight through to lunchtime, no problem, and I didn't even think about food. All of a sudden it'd be lunchtime and I hadn't thought about, you know, how hungry I was or anything. So, and whenever I do eat bread for whatever reason, I then find that an hour or so later I'm hungry again. Whereas on the days that I don't eat bread, or the weeks, months, whatever, food doesn't bother me. I quite happily miss lunch, no issue, and I'll quite happily go straight through to dinner and not be hungry, and it keeps the weight off. Now, I exercise now every day, but if I have a few days of eating some pasta and bread, the weight comes straight back on. Regardless of how I keep up with my exercise, it makes no difference whatsoever. So all I'm trying to explain is for the reason I exercise is not to keep my weight down. I found that makes no difference. Yes, exercising keeps me healthy, keeps me fitter, and it keeps my metabolism up and it keeps me more energised, but as regards to my, you know, having a flat stomach or my love handles, it makes no difference whatsoever. That is all down to my diet, and I notice it straight away if I have a bad week. A few weeks ago we had a bad week where we had dinner with friends, then we had a barbecue, and it was just sort of coming on, and of course I was eating bread and pasta at all these events, and I really noticed that my stomach started bulging again, my love handles were over my jeans, but I'd still been exercising just as much. The minute I stopped and went back to my normal diet, it all went, and it went within sort of like days. So yeah, so that's just a quick rundown of what I do to keep my figure the way I am happy with it in my sort of late 30s, and I've noticed a change from sort of mid 30s to late 30s, and I presume I'll just have to work harder and harder and probably have to give up more bad things in the future, but for now all I limit myself in my diet is pasta, bread, and potatoes and rice afterwards as well. Hope you found any of that interesting. Any questions, just leave them leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys.